Every year, as the last days of October bleed into November, something strange happens. The air grows cold, the nights stretch long, and the world, for a single, fleeting evening, decides to play pretend. We become ghosts, monsters, heroes. We carve faces into pumpkins and set them aglow. We send our children into the twilight to demand tribute from neighbors. We indulge in a collective, delightful fear. But have you ever stopped to wonder, why? What if the plastic fangs, the cheap costumes, and the aisles of candy corn are just a modern mask, hiding a face that is thousands of years old, etched not from plastic, but from fire, faith, and the ancient fear of the dark? This isn't just a tale of a holiday. This is the tale of a ghost of a festival that refused to die, a festival called Samhain. To find the beginning, we have to travel back over 2 millennia to the misty hills of the ancient Celts. They lived in a world governed by rhythms we've largely forgotten. The rhythm of the sun, the soil, and the seasons. Their year wasn't a straight line, but a great, turning wheel. This wheel was divided into 2 halves: the light, vibrant time of growth and sun, and the dark, cold time of introspection and waiting. And on the cusp between them, as the light gave way to the dark, lay a single powerful night. The night when the Celts believed the veil between our world and the other world grew impossibly, dangerously thin. This was Samhain. It meant quite simply, summer's end. Samhain was the Celtic New Year. It was a 3-day fire festival, a time to bring the herds in from the pastures, to take stock of the harvest, and to prepare for the long, lean winter. But more than that, it was a time to honor the dead. The Celts believed that on Samhain, the spirits of those who had passed away in the last year could return to walk among the living. It was a sacred, yet perilous time, for while the spirits of your loved ones might return, so too could less friendly entities, mischievous sprites, and other darker things that lurked in the liminal space between worlds. So, how did they navigate this night of spirits? They lit great, communal bonfires, a symbolic sun to hold back the encroaching dark, and an offering to the gods. They set places at their tables for departed family members, laying out feasts as an invitation for their spirits to rejoin the living. They made offerings of crops and animals, not out of fear but out of respect, a transaction with the unseen forces that governed their lives. And they did one more thing, a practice whose legacy is at the very heart of our modern Halloween. They wore disguises. If you had to venture outside on Samhain into a world thronging with spirits, you had 2 choices. You could try to hide from the malevolent ones, or you could try to blend in with them. So they fashioned costumes from the skins and heads of animals. The goal wasn't to look beautiful or heroic. It was to look hideous. To look like you belonged to the other side, so you would be left alone, or mistaken for one of them, and not dragged into the underworld. This was the first trick or treat, not for candy, but for safety. And the pranks, the mischief? The Celts believed the chaotic energy of the night was also the work of those unruly spirits, blurring the line between the human and the supernatural. The world was turned upside down, and for one night, madness had its reign. But empires rise, and with them, new gods. In the 1st century, the Roman legions conquered most of the Celtic lands, and on the heels of the soldiers came new ideas. Christianity. The church faced a dilemma. How do you convert a people who are deeply attached to their ancient festivals? You can't simply erase a tradition as powerful as Samhain. So, the strategy was one of absorption and redirection, a spiritual rebranding. The church had a day to honor all its saints and martyrs, known as All Saints' Day or All Hallows' Day. Originally celebrated in the spring, Pope Gregory IV in the 9th century officially moved it to November 1st. The night before, October 31st, thus became All Hallows Eve. Say it fast and you can hear it. Halloween. It was a masterstroke. Instead of honoring pagan spirits, the people were now instructed to celebrate Christian saints. The old feast for the dead became a feast for the holy dead. The sacrifices of crops were replaced by souling, the practice where poor folk and later children would go door to door on All Souls' Day. November 2nd, offering prayers for the homeowner's deceased relatives in exchange for soul cakes, a kind of spiced bread. The church had provided a new cast of characters, but the play remained largely the same. The memory of the dead was still honored, the community still gathered, and the mischief? Well, the mischief proved stubborn. When the Puritans set sail for the New World, they brought with them a profound distrust of anything that smelled of paganism or popery. In early America, celebrations of Halloween were, for the most part, forbidden. It was too pagan for the Protestants, too Catholic for the Puritans. For a time, it seemed Halloween might not take root in the fertile American soil. But then, history delivered a catalyst: famine. In the mid-19th century, a massive wave of immigrants fleeing the devastating potato famine in Ireland poured into the United States, and they brought their Halloween with them in their cultural luggage. In the old country, traditions like guising were alive and well. Children in Scotland and Ireland would dress in disguises and go from house to house, performing a song, a poem, or a joke to earn an apple, some nuts, or a coin. It was a performance, not a threat. But in the vast, anonymous, and often rowdy new towns of America, the old traditions began to mutate. The playful, performance-based guising began to merge with the more aggressive, mischief-focused energy of the season. By the late 1800s, tricks, from soaping windows to unhinging gates, were becoming common. Adults, desperate to curb the vandalism, saw an opportunity. They institutionalized the treat. The message was simple: if you want to avoid a trick, provide a reward. And just like that, trick-or-treating, as we know it, was born, a uniquely American bargain between the generations. The 20th century saw the final, explosive stage of Halloween's evolution: commercialization. By the 1920s and 30s, companies were mass-producing costumes, moving them from homemade sheets and painted faces to pre-packaged outfits for kids and adults. The holiday was becoming a business. After the austerity of World War II, the 1950s economic boom sealed the deal. Candy manufacturers, looking for a new market, aggressively promoted their products as the ideal, convenient Halloween treat, edging out the traditional apples and homemade goods. Television and cinema got in on the act, with Halloween-themed specials and horror movie marathons cementing the holiday's place in the national consciousness. And what of the jack-o'-lantern, that most iconic of symbols? Its story is one of adaptation. The original jack-o'-lantern wasn't a pumpkin. In Ireland and Scotland, they carved turnips, potatoes, and beets. These ghost turnips, with their gnarled, frightening faces, were meant to ward off evil spirits, perhaps inspired by the legend of Stingy Jack, a man doomed to wander the earth with only a coal in a turnip to light his way. But when Irish immigrants arrived in America, they discovered a native fruit that was larger, brighter, and far easier to carve: the pumpkin. The tradition was instantly transformed, creating the cheerful, glowing symbol we know today. So here we are today. We spend billions on costumes and candy. We decorate our homes with synthetic cobwebs and plastic skeletons. For most, it's a secular, commercial, and wonderfully fun holiday. But if you listen closely, you can still hear the breath of Samhain in the chill October wind. When a child puts on a mask, they are not just playing dress-up. They are participating in a 2,000-year-old ritual of disguise, a spell cast against the unseen. That gruesome goblin costume, it's the direct descendant of an animal hide, worn to confuse an ancient spirit. When we place a lit pumpkin on our porch, it is more than just decoration. It is a ward against the dark, a modern, safer version of the great Samhain bonfires, a beacon that says, to both trick-or-treaters and the memory of spirits, this home is part of the celebration. And when we embrace the spooky, the eerie, and the macabre on this one night, we are acknowledging the same truth the Celts did, that death is a part of life, that the line between this world and the next is a concept to be explored, questioned, and, for one night, playfully trespassed. Halloween is not satanic. Its roots are older than the concept of the Christian devil. It is a holiday of harvest, memory, and the human need to face the dark, with a mix of reverence and rebellion. It is the ghost of Samhain, not dead, but living, breathing, and evolving. It is a testament to the power of tradition, proving that even when a festival's name changes and its gods are replaced, its soul can endure, waiting to be rediscovered in the glow of a jack-o'-lantern, hidden behind a mask, and in the simple, ancient question, trick or treat. Watch the next video to discover more ancient beliefs, and let us know in the comments below which strange ancient mystery you'd like us to unravel next.